This could be Australia's most sensible family SUV. It's the new generation Skoda Kodiaq with all-wheel drive as standard, 7 seats as standard, and heaps of tech and spec with a few interesting trim grades to choose from. And in this review, I'll tell you what it's like, what you need to know about it when it comes to the ownership perspective, and also the best alternatives to it. So stick around. If you've already subscribed, thanks very much. If you haven't, please do. It helps a lot. And let's get to it. As I said, all Skoda Kodiaqs sold in Australia have 7 seats as standard and all-wheel drive as standard, as well as a turbocharged petrol engine and a dual-clutch automatic transmission. Now, I'll go into all the details about the powertrains coming up soon, but let's talk about what's on offer at launch. There are 3 different versions to choose from. The entry-level Select is the most affordable. It is very value-focused, and you are getting some surprising inclusions for your 55 grand or so. A little bit more if you're looking at the drive-away pricing on your screen, but you are getting heaps of good gear. Things like 19-inch alloy wheels, auto LED lights, LED tail lights, you've got a power tailgate, there's proximity keyless entry and push-button start, there's black leather upholstery on the inside with heated front seats, a power driver's seat with memory settings, there's a 10-inch virtual cockpit display, a 13-inch touchscreen media system with wired and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You've got sat-nav, you've got a 9-speaker sound system as standard and tri-zone climate control, as well as a auto-dimming rear vision mirror and ambient lighting, even on that base grade model. And then if you want to, you can spend a little bit more to get into the sport line, which is this one here. Obviously, it makes it look a little bit sportier from the outside with new 20-inch alloy wheels with aero covers. You can rip them off if you don't like the look. And there's other blacked out features around the body of the car too. Plus the sport line, well, it costs a little bit more, but you're getting better headlights, matrix LED lights for this one, dynamic indicators at the rear, there's a heated steering wheel, aluminium pedals, there's suede and leatherette upholstery, heated front seats, and you've also got front sports seats with a black headliner, a better sound system, and you can get drive mode selection on this model as well. There's an option pack that you can add if you want to. It adds $4,000 to the price and gives you things like adaptive chassis control so you can adjust the suspension behavior of the vehicle, a surround view camera, which should honestly be standard on a car like this. The fact that you've got to option it is a bit rubbish. And there's a higher end stereo and heated outboard rear seats if you choose the option pack version. And then there's the Launch Edition model, which is basically the entry-level version, but with a big, very, very comprehensive package added to it to make it more luxurious. I won't go into all the details about the Launch Edition model. It probably won't be around forever, but it does have heaps of great features. And if you are looking for the most highly specified version at this point in time, well, it could be the one to go for. There is an RS model coming later on, which will be more performance-oriented with a different engine. And I want to call this out. You can get metallic paint at no extra cost unless you're choosing one of the premium metallic paints like this red finish, and then you do have to pay a little extra. But let's talk about some alternatives to this, because there are some really good ones. All right, if you're thinking that you want a 7-seat family SUV, I think the best alternative to this is the Hyundai Santa Fe. It comes with a couple of different engine options now. There's a turbo petrol version or the petrol electric version, which is also a turbo engine but with electric assist. And I've been living with one of those for several months now, and I have to say it is one of the easiest vehicles to live with. It is just so lovely and super duper efficient, and it's also very, very comfortable and practical with some really great features, including ISOFIX points in the 3rd row, which you won't get in all SUVs, including this one. Another option you might want to consider is the Kia Sorento. Again, another fantastic family SUV with 3rd row ISOFIX points too. The choice of diesel, if that matters to you, I think it is a fantastic diesel engine in the Sorento, and it's the one I would be picking. There's also hybrid and plug-in hybrid models as well, so plenty to choose from in the Sorento range. And if you don't necessarily need 7 seats, but you like the idea of something rugged and all-wheel drive, then you definitely should have a look at the Subaru Outback. It might be getting a little bit old now, but there are a couple of different versions available, including a turbo petrol one with all-wheel drive, and it's a lot of fun. It's very practical, very comfortable. If you can deal without the 3rd row seats, it would be a great choice. Tell me which one you would pick in the comments section below. Skoda is one of the masters when it comes to packaging a lot into a little space, and this vehicle is no exception. The dimensions are on your screen now. It is just over 4.7 meters in length, so about the same size as most other mid-size 5-seat SUVs, but they've managed to wedge in a pair of seats in the very back. Now I'll show you that shortly, but I want to call out some of the practicality considerations if you are buying a Skoda. In terms of sizing this up for your lifestyle, it's got these really handy things. They pop out on the doors when you open them, so it should stop your kids from bashing their doors into other cars when you're parked. And yes, you've got proximity unlocking with unlock and lock buttons on the rear doors as well. So that will make your shopping center experiences and your school drop-offs just a little bit easier. At the back, yes, it is a redesigned rear end, and you are getting plenty of practicality here with an electric tailgate as standard. So just push the button under there and let's have a look in the boot. Just excuse the nets because, well, they are something that you get as standard. You also get these little adjustable sections so you can basically partition off your luggage and make sure it doesn't move around too much. And as you can see, there is still a very usable amount of space there with the third row up, and plenty of practicality elements on the sides here as well. Little storage areas under there. You can see underneath, that's where the cargo cover goes when it's not in use. And you've got little shopping bag hooks and more hooks up there too. More hooks ahead there. Same on this side, a 12-volt port, more hooks, a light. There is plenty on offer in here, and underneath here, you'll also find a space saver spare wheel. It might be a bit of a juggle to get everything out of there if you do get a flat and you need to access it, but at least it's there. And let me just fold down these back seats. Pretty simple, but it does have a bit of a reach factor when you're putting them back up. Just push these little levers down, you can push these seats down. And with this matted section that's fitted to this particular vehicle, it does make things a little bit more difficult than it might otherwise be. But it does have a massive boot. If you're thinking of this as a 5-seater, it will be super duper practical and fit your lifestyle and fit most other things in there as well, like bikes and stuff like that. So, do you think it's going to fit your needs? Well, let's take a look inside and see what the interior is like. Okay people, this is the interior of the new generation Skoda Kodiaq, and let me tell you, this is a huge step up from the previous one in lots of ways, but there are some things that you will have to get used to. So let's start off with these things right here, the smart dials. You might have seen them in my international review of this vehicle, and I do think that they are, well, pretty interesting bits of technology. You've got your fan adjustment if you want it like that, but then if you press that button, you can turn it into a volume dial, or you can turn it into a drive mode selector. So you can see up on the screen there, as I twirl the wheel, it does adjust the control there. But these maybe aren't as nicely finished as, say, some dials in a Honda or something. And as you can see, if you press the buttons when you've got heated seats, they can adjust the seat heating. So that's good to note. And you've also thankfully got some little controls down here, like for your recirc button, your demisters as well, and auto mode for the aircon if you just want to leave it to do its own thing. Now, let's look at this screen here. It's a 13-inch touchscreen media system. Of course, it's got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's also sat-nav built into this system, which is excellent. There's a voice control technology, but I really like some parts of this screen because you can configure them. So up here, you've got a few different little icons that you can change. If you want to make that one your drive modes button, that's fine. Or if you have other preferences that you'd like to put up there, well, you can adjust those. So if you say, I want it to be my lane keep button there and my background lighting or whatever it may be, any of those options right there, you can put them in that top section if you want to just easily access those considerations. So I love that little configurability function. It just means that you'll be able to tailor this screen to suit what you like more easily. And I think that's a very important consideration. Now, speaking of which, you can tailor those smart dials to have different controls. So if you would prefer it to be air direction rather than air volume, you can do that too. And that is a nice little inclusion in my mind. Down here, you can quickly get back to this voice control system. Press this button here, that will take you back to the home screen. You can scroll across if you want to basically change things up and that's configurable as well. If you just want to get to your Apple CarPlay display, well, that's how you'll do that right there. Now, some of the journos on this event have said that they've bumped that button right there a couple of times when trying to adjust the screen. That will turn the screen off, as you can see. I haven't had that issue personally, but maybe I am more deft of finger than they are. Now, there's another screen right here. This virtual cockpit display, as we've come to know it from the brand, and you can configure it as well. So you can change the view there if you want to make it more minimalist, or you can adjust things so you can see different elements on the screen. You can even get a map view up there as well. And if you are wondering if you want to quickly turn things off on the safety front using the steering wheel controls, you can do that just by hitting that top button there and then scrolling down and adjusting as you wish. Whichever bit you don't want on, you can quickly turn it off, which is great. Over this side, you'll find in this particular car, there is a steering wheel heating button. You've also got your volume control there as well. Paddle shifters where you would expect them to be. Your gear selector, not where you would expect it to be, but it's one of those ones that's the modern shift by wire design. So you've got a park button at the end, you twist it forwards to go into drive and backwards to go into reverse, and your parking brake is down there, but it will auto apply, and your light controls are there too. Just leave it in auto and it should do the job. Your cruise control function, well, that's down there. That can take a little bit of getting used to, that stalk, but I'm sure you will. You've got reach and rake adjustment for the steering wheel, so it is very adjustable. The entry-level version comes with electric driver's seat adjustment too, which is a nice inclusion if you want it, plus memory settings. And the passenger seat in the entry-level version gets you manual adjustment, but with nice tilt for the base of the seat and multiple different adjustments for lumbar and so forth. So the seats, no complaints there. These are the Sportline seats and they are lovely. They're very comfortable and they have extendable bits as well. So you can make them longer in the squab if you are longer of limb. And there's some other elements that I want to call out when it comes to the storage stuff. There's decent sized bottle holders in the doors. You've got a dual glove box layout here. So yep, a top box and a lower box. And down here, you'll find plenty of really great storage considerations, including a little shelf. You've got wireless phone chargers, 2 of them. If you're wondering what this is, it's not a vape. It's actually a screen wipe. So you can easily just keep your screen clean. That's a bloody bonus inclusion, I reckon. Here you've got cup holders, which you can basically duplicate if you need to, which is also awesome. You can cover that up if you want it hidden away. And you've got a big center console bin too. So all the practicalities, including your illuminated vanity mirrors and a ticket holder and another ticket holder down there too. They're all covered, and grab handles in the front as well. Now this particular car also gets a glass roof with a big shade cover. It's not too hot in here, but it might not be to everyone's taste, and nor might the black headliner. But hey, let's jump in the second row and see what it's like, shall we? All right, this seat is set for me at 6 foot tall, and I have to say I've got plenty of room behind. I've got lots of foot room, heaps of knee room as well, and headroom, well, it's not bad either, considering this has got the glass roof, and well, there's lights up there to keep things illuminated, grab handles as well. Yes, sunshades, which is a big bonus for parents. Trust me, if you've got them, your kid will want them back. If you haven't got them in your new car, they'll be very disappointed. And there's even some little inclusions like these holders on the seat backs. You can tuck in a phone or a tablet or something to keep everyone occupied. You've got hooks in the back here for your coats and other things. And you've also got 3-zone climate control in this vehicle, so you can adjust the rear temperature independent of the front. You've also got these vents, which are nicely adjustable. This particular car also comes with the heated second row outboard seats, USB-C ports down there, a 12-volt port, and a little storage tray down here, which actually makes the middle seat pretty useless, I have to say. But you've got some nice pockets on the seat backs, including mobile device holders. Now let's have a look at the space on offer. So yes, you can fit 3 adults across the back here if you need to. There are ISOFIX points in the window seats. There's a center drop down section with cup holders if you need that. Nice soft padded bits there. And you've got these soft microfiber finishes on the door cards with this lovely stitched finish, which I think actually looks really good. In fact, the design back here is excellent. But let's talk about what you can do in terms of the practicality. So you can slide these seats forward forward. This one slides on its own, and these two slide together. So that might factor into your decisions because, well, if you put a kid's seat there all the time, like most people do, it might not necessarily be the most practical if you're going to use the back seats for kids all the time either. But let me jump into the third row and show you what it's like. Excuse the light change. So you would think that maybe you would pull that tab, but that will just lower down the seat back. And I want to show you, you can also quickly put this out of the way. So it is out of the way. You can do this with this seat. So slide it forward. Just be mindful, yes, you do have that accessory item there. And the space, well, let's have a little squiz, shall we? I'm not confident. I have sat in the back of this car before, and it isn't necessarily the most accommodating for a big unit like moi. And let me just, yeah, okay. So with that seat set to a place where I would still be, well, maybe a little bit tight, it is very, very tight back here. My knees are certainly in a knees up position, and headroom, yeah, a little tight as well. So it might not necessarily be the most practical 3-row vehicle if you're going to use the back seats all the time, and there are no ISOFIX points in the very back either, no vents in the back. So is it the most sensible 7-seater? Probably not, but is it a good 5+2, sometimes 7-seater? Yeah, I reckon it is. Just don't go banking on using this third row all the time, is my advice. Under the bonnet of the Skoda Kodiaq right now, there's just one powertrain on offer. It's the 140 TSI, which means a 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine with 140 kilowatts of power, 320 Newton meters of torque, and it might not necessarily be the most powerful engine in the class, but it does have a pretty speedy 0 to 100 time of 8.2 seconds. Yes, it comes as standard with a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission, or DSG, and it has all-wheel drive as standard too. Now, if you ring the bell, you'll be notified when I do my review of the RS model, which comes with a 2-litre turbo, but with much more power and torque. And, well, it'll probably be worth waiting for if you're into performance when it comes to your Kodiaq. Righto, so let's talk about the drive experience in this new generation version of the Skoda Kodiaq, and it is impressive in a lot of ways. Now, the car I'm in right now is the Sportline model with the option package that includes adaptive dampers. So if you are aware what adaptive dampers are, they basically allow you to adjust the comfort or the firmness of the suspension damping to suit the needs or suit your tastes, really. And it's a 15-stage adjustable setting, so you can basically tailor it to what you prefer, or maybe your backseat riders prefer in some instances. But look, I think you don't need that if you don't want that, because I drove the entry-level version earlier on today. It had 19-inch wheels with slightly higher profile tires, so it handled little lumps and bumps a little better than the one with 20s, which is the one I'm in right now. And I think that the ride comfort and suspension tune as it is, as standard, is really quite amenable, very comfortable and very easy to live with across mixed road surfaces that I encountered anyway. So don't necessarily think you have to spend the most to get the best, and I think you'll come away with a pretty good drive experience in this car. And more generally, this car does drive more like a car than a 7-seat SUV. So if you're the sort of person who wants a practical 3-row vehicle but doesn't want a big cumbersome feeling thing, well, this could be a great choice for you, because it is directly nimble when it comes to the steering. It behaves more like a hatchback than it does a big bulky 7-seater, and it really does make you smile when you find the right stretch of road. It's got all-wheel drive, so you've got plenty of traction available to you in different situations. And this engine, well, it's a 140 kilowatt engine, but it might not necessarily feel like the zestiest powertrain out there. There are more powerful turbo engines available from competitor brands, but this one, it's okay. I would say it's not much more than that. It's powerful, sure, it's got a good amount of torque and good refinement, but you do find when you're trying to overtake or something, you might run out of breath before you're expecting with this engine. It's not underdone, it's just maybe not as well, super duper fast as you might expect. For day-to-day driving, I'm sure this will be perfectly fine, and so is the 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. It manages things very well, although it will hold gears a little long in sport mode in particular. So look, the drive experience here, generally very impressive. It's refined, it's comfortable, it's pretty quiet as well. So you might find that that's a big improvement over your existing Kodiaq, because they were a little noisy on the inside. If you're thinking about trading up and trading in, yeah, this could be a much more refined thing for you to live with. And I reckon it would be a really lovely thing to live with more generally. I just hate the fact that they haven't made a surround view camera standard across the range. It just seems like a real oversight for a vehicle like this, from a brand like this that knows that, well, safety is important, and it would be a nice thing to have as standard, in my opinion. On your screen, you'll see the official combined cycle fuel consumption figure for the 140 TSI models, which are the only ones on sale right now. And it's a pretty high number, I've got to say. Most new modern SUVs are using less fuel than that, but most new modern SUVs have hybrid tech included. This car doesn't. So it might be something you want to keep in mind. If you're wondering what I've seen across today's drive, which has been a lot of driving, in fact, urban, highway, freeway, lots of country roads and some twisty stuff. Yeah, 8.8 litres per 100 is what I've seen, and it needs 95 RON premium unleaded to fill the tank. Tank capacity is on your screen now, so you should still get pretty long driving range from this vehicle. The Skoda Kodiaq achieved the maximum 5-star ANCAP rating in 2024, and it's got all the stuff that you would expect to achieve that kind of score. Things like autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian, cyclist and junction detection. There's also lane keeping assistance, emergency lane keeping, adaptive cruise control. There's a traffic jam assist feature as well, so it can stop, start and steer for you in some situations. Plus there's other things like blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. There's parking sensors around the car, and a reversing camera is standard. Sadly, no surround view camera standard, which I think is a misstep for 2025 and beyond. For a family vehicle like this, you are getting it in cars half the price after all. And I do think that, well, the safety systems in terms of the annoyances, well, they're minimal, which is great. There is a speed sign recognition system, but it doesn't give you the shits. And there's a driver monitoring camera too, which also is pretty good in terms of its behavior and not being too incessant. And neither of them really beep and bong, so I love that about it. And when it comes to the airbags, well, there are 9 fitted to this vehicle, including dual front side, a driver's knee airbag. There's front center airbag as well, curtain airbags, rear side airbags. But just be mindful, those curtain airbags don't go all the way to the 3rd row. Skoda is the only European brand in Australia to offer a 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty. That is fantastic for buyers, I reckon. And the brand also has the opportunity to prepay your servicing for a 7-year period. And if you decide to sell the car after 3 years, well, you pass on that benefit to the next owner. And your service intervals, well, they're every 12 months and 15,000 kilometres, so not too bad in that regard. And also you get roadside assistance topped up every time you service at a Skoda dealership too. It's also worth remembering that this vehicle has guaranteed future value. What that means is you can go onto the Skoda website, figure out what your repayments will be, and also figure out what you want to get out of the vehicle at the end of your finance period, whether it's to trade it in or to keep it or to pay it off, whatever it may be. There's guaranteed future value available, and that could be a really strong thing to add to your decision-making checklist. It's a pretty likable thing, this Skoda Kodiaq. Lovely to drive, no annoying technology, and some really great features inside. I'm not convinced that it's necessarily the smartest 7-seater that you can buy at this kind of money, especially if you know you're going to use those 3rd row seats all the time. But for what it is very impressive. And if you think you can make it work for your lifestyle, then definitely check it out. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see ya when I see ya.